Hey everybody, my name is Carol Brown and I'm an urban fantasy author and I'm here to talk to you about time management. This is the third video I have in regards to author work ethic and basically using tips and tricks in order to be more productive with their time. I started with goals and now we're here in time management, and it's the last video that I'm going to do in regards to this topic because after this I would like to focus on other things like marketing and how does Twitter work and all that jazz, which I think are videos that most authors actually need to see right now versus like how to make a compelling character. Because one of the things that you don't really hear about is how much time that you have to end up spending marketing yourself, and I would rather make those videos right now for the people who are ready to go into publishing. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about time management. So time management is something that I do have a lot of experience with, between the military, managing people, and trying to sustain some kind of sense of sanity right now with my life as I balance a writing career and grad school and many other things. So I have to manage my time just so that way I can just stay on top of everything that I'm trying to do right now. Now, if you are not in the habit of time management, this is going to suck for you in the beginning because this is a habit that you do need to cultivate and you do need to get used to doing. In the beginning, it's going to be really tedious and you're not going to like it, but the moment that you kind of get into the routine of doing it every day, you're going to see the results and it's going to be very beneficial to you. As somebody who has managed people, I can tell you for a fact that the people who I've had to kind of govern and watch over that were the stressed out the most were the people that didn't have good time management skills. They would focus too much on one thing and let stuff fall to the wayside, and the next thing you know, they were behind on all their projects and they were stressed out, and then you go try and find them and they're curled up in the corner crying and asking for mommy. All right? I'm trying to help you to avoid that. So I've got 7 strategies that should be helpful to you. And let's just go ahead and just get straight into this. So the first thing, obviously, is you need to have goals. I've talked about this extensively. Goals are really important. You should have them. And that's about all I'm going to say on that because I literally have a 15-minute video where I talk about making goals. So you can go to check that out and kind of figure out how to make goals and how to utilize them and how to plan your time around those. The next thing that I do want to talk about has to do with prioritizing. Now, it's way too easy to focus on the simple, easy to do things and neglect the bigger projects that you need to focus on. And I would recommend that you make sure that you prioritize what you're going to do every day appropriately because, as I said, if you focus on the little stuff and you let the big stuff go, it gets bigger and bigger and it becomes like this big looming monster that's just kind of hovering over you. And then the next thing you know, you have so much work to do and you have no time to do it. And you didn't know what sleep was before. You're definitely not going to know what it is now. So the next thing that I would like to mention when it comes to managing your time has to do with when to say no to things. You do need to keep in your mental well-being when you are trying to plan everything. It's too easy, and I notice that people are very frequent to just pick up all sorts of stuff either because they're trying to help or they're trying to show that they're useful or insert any other reason right here. And that's not very helpful because after a while, these people who keep taking on all this work onto themselves for whatever reason end up becoming a curled up mess in the corner and just blubbering to themselves. You need to know when it's okay to say no to things that you just don't want to do. Projects, endeavors, whatever. A couple weeks ago, I took a week off of social media, not because I was trying to detox myself, but because it was finals at college and I had to prioritize my time. And at that point, it was working on finals and making sure that that was all knocked out. Sorry. Now, the other thing, number 4, that I have on here has to do with knowing your distractions. I've seen this on websites as eliminate your distractions, but I'll be honest with you, in today's day and age, the only way you're going to eliminate all your distractions is to go into a cabin in the middle of the woods where no one can find you and there's no Wi-Fi. It's just not going to happen. Instead, be aware of what your distractions are. Is it YouTube? Is it Facebook? Is it your phone? And once you're aware of what those distractions are, know when to push them away or to kind of close the door on them. My biggest distraction is YouTube. I go in there looking for music, and next thing you know, I'm watching James Charles, and then a couple hours later, I remember that I was supposed to write 2,000 words in my manuscript. That's my distraction. So knowing that YouTube is my distraction, when it's time for me to work, I know that I can't go there for a little while. I have to find something else to listen to music through. Now, which brings me to number 5. Number 5 is having to do with tracking your time. I probably should have put this as number 1, but I put it here because people have a hard time with tracking their time and seeing how they're using it. And one of the interesting things that I noticed when I managed people is that they would always say how busy they were. And I would see that they were moving around and that they were doing things, but there obviously wasn't any work coming out from them. And that was very strange in the beginning. So I asked them to start tracking their time for a week so that way I could figure out where they were spending the most time at. And some of it was spent at the water cooler. Some of it was spent with them waiting on other people. And sometimes it was just spent like they were honestly just like on social media. And social media was eating up their time, not because they wanted to be on social media, but because social media is an entity which is made to keep you progressing and to keep clicking on things and exploring and all that stuff. So if you take the time to actually track your time, you'll start to find where you have time sinks. Sometimes this is you being in transit. Sometimes this has to do with you just going and talking at the water cooler too much. And just be brutally honest, like, where are you with your time? As I said before, my time is usually, wasted the most on YouTube because I'm visual and that's where I like to go. Sometimes your time can be wasted talking to somebody in the snack bar, and it's just good to know that. So if you find out where you're kind of like losing your time at, you'll be able to tackle that and kind of rearrange everything so that way you can get more work done. So now that brings me to number 6. Number 6 has to do with planning your day. Planning your day, I would say that you need to plan your day the night before, and you shouldn't spend a lot of time doing this. It's just kind of like an overall idea of what you're trying to accomplish. I do this every day with this little whiteboard thing that I have. And I spend less than 10 minutes doing this. Obviously on Sunday, I'll review what I have to do the next week, and then I start checking the stuff off. Obviously this is out of date because it's the 1st through the 7th, so I haven't updated that yet. But I do track down what I'm going to do every day for work and what I'm going to do for personal. And when I write that the day before, it kind of like takes the edge off of what I need to do that day. Some people like to do it in the morning. I tried to do it in the morning, but then I was cheating by like writing things down, like, drink more coffee or something. So, writing it the day before already has my mind in that headspace, and I know what I need to do, and it helps me just stay on top of things. So I really like that. Again, that's just what works. That's what works for me. Let's see. Now I did have a friend when I was talking about this, and they said that they use Google Calendar to help them be productive, because they'll go into the calendar and they'll write in like 3 things that they need to get done that day at a certain time, and as they, finish it, they like check it off. Google Calendar is a pretty awesome thing to utilize because mostly it's free. Some people obviously have issues with Google, whatever. But if you want to use a digital format, go for it. I use the little whiteboard thing that I have right here just because I like to write things. It helps it helps cement it versus typing it. There's a hand-brain coordination. I've talked about this before. Anyway, and then the 7th thing has to do with where I was talking about tracking your time, and that's utilizing your dead time. One of the things I noticed in the military is that when we were all working on a project and it would get sent out to somebody else, people would then start just sitting around and just waiting for it to come back, and we could have been working on other things. This can be applied to authorhood in the sense that when you send your manuscript off to your editor, you're not just sitting around waiting for the manuscript to come back, you're working on your other projects, right? You've got short stories to do, you've got other books to write, novellas, whatever. You don't just stop working because you're waiting on somebody else. So making sure that you utilize your dead time, appropriately. And this also can include drive time as well. If you are trying to catch up on like your reading or whatever, and you spend a lot of time driving, audiobooks are probably going to end up being your friend. Just saying. Personal preference on the reading, I know. Now, that's pretty much all my tips and tricks when it comes to time management and using your time efficiently now, but that doesn't mean that these are the only ones that are there. So my question for you, viewer, is what are some methods that you use to manage your time effectively? And the reason I'm asking this, as always, is because if somebody is new and they're trying to figure out everything, I would like them to have some kind of resource bank from us, that they can use to figure out what's going to work for them. Obviously, I gave 7 ideas for myself that make me be productive and help me manage my time better, but that doesn't mean that they're the only ones out there. So that is all I have to say about time management and being effective. At this point, I would just like to remind you guys that I do have a giveaway that is going on right now. If you click on a link down below and sign up for my newsletter, not only will you be entered into the giveaway, but you will get a copy of a short story that I wrote. And you can use that short story to see if I know what I'm talking about when it comes to writing. And if you do happen to like it, I would really like a review. No pressure though. I mean, actually, it's a lot of pressure because authors are kind of made or broken on their reviews, so I would really like some reviews, por favor, thank you. But that's pretty much all I've got for you today. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to. If you want to ring that bell down below so that way you can get notified when you want to hear more content from me, go for that as well. But that's pretty much all I've got to say, and I hope to talk to you guys soon. So see you later.